Hello and welcome to Card Shop Insiders, a podcast where we combine decades of experience from both sides of the counter to take you inside the business of local game stores and collectible gaming hobbies. I'm Noah, and I play games, lots of them.
Hi, I'm John. I'm a card shop owner and a 26-year veteran of this industry.
All right, John, well, we've got combined perspectives and we're ready to take our listeners inside, so let's jump into the news for this week. We were just talking offline about the Sports Illustrated article that references Yu-Gi-Oh! I know you didn't get a chance to read through it, but we were talking about how that's kind of cool. October 11th here, gold medalist and self-proclaimed world's fastest nerd, Noah Lyles, is an avid uh, fan of trading card games, and they talk about the World Championship tournament for Yu-Gi-Oh! And about his passion for playing and collecting Yu-Gi-Oh! In the article. What are your thoughts about big published magazine like Sports Illustrated talking about Yu-Gi-Oh?
Well, I think it's good. I think it's more exposure for the industry. Uh, but I asked you, who the hell is Noah Lyles? What's his specialty in the Olympics?
He won the 100. He got the gold in the 100, and I think he got bronze in the 200. He
Okay.
was sick. He had COVID on the day of the
Oh, did he?
200, and he still
He still
medaled.
competed, huh?
Yeah.
That's impressive. No, I think it's good for the game, and I think it's good for the overall industry. Uh, no matter what kind of publicity you get, good, bad, or indifferent, it just gets it out, more to the masses. And Sports Illustrated is a widely, read, magazine, especially when the swimsuit models come out. I like that. I used to like that. I don't get it
The
anymore.
Sports Illustrated has gotten a lot into some of the more nerdy things in the last several years. They've got esports regularly pops on Sports Illustrated now, and now with athletes, there's a series of pro athletes that are into games like Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff, and they're appearing on web series and other things, kind of publicly acknowledging that they're playing these games, which I think is good. I also think it makes it more likely that people that are maybe reserved about their interest in a hobby like this may be more open and public about it, and that, like you said, can drive interest publicly and get people into the store, get people willing to go play outside of their kitchen.
Yeah, definitely.
Second thing we had, what I pulled from Reddit this week, was a TCG player critique, and there was a screenshot and a message um, that says that due to inventory issues after they placed an order, the seller canceled the order and issued a refund. And it looks like the cancellation happened and coincided with price changes. Market price was fluctuating on some cards, and somebody found an opportunity to buy them for really cheap, and so they bought them. And then the seller canceled the order so they could then relist and raise the price on the items, trying to avoid, I guess, the appearance of loss because they could have sold them for more.
Yeah.
Um, and I thought we'd bring that up and see what your thoughts are about kind of that practice and how it impacts stores like you and other game shops around the country.
I've done it.
Yeah,
Yep. Because people snipe the best prices. And that's why I stopped selling online for the most part.
yeah,
Because the website updating doesn't always happen instantaneously. And if a card spikes from $5 to $50, and somebody that's all they do is pop pimples and sit at their desk and look for the best pricing as they're popping their pimples, uh, it's not going to happen. I'm not going to take that loss, and I'll just as soon send their money back.
yeah.
They don't like it, but I don't care. I just don't care.
Well, I think, I think that the other side of the argument is that, if you're running like a live inventory and you've got to keep prices updated, I mean, if people choose not to buy from you again because of that, I guess you're comfortable with that decision. But I think,
But let me interrupt you. I've had some local customers come in,
yeah,
and they've done the same thing, and that's no big deal. I'll do it. And I've also had some local customers come in and say, "Hey, John, you're too low at this price. I want to buy it, but I don't want to steal it from you."
yeah,
And I'll make some concessions. I won't charge them what the should be price is. I'll meet them halfway, and I say, "Hey, look, I really appreciate your consideration." And those kind of people you want to bend over and help out because they're helping you out.
Yeah.
So you wash each other's hand in doing so, and I think that's a good business practice. But again, you get somebody from across the country that's all they're doing is sniping prices here and there. Uh,
Oh, with modern technology, you don't even have to be sitting at your computer. You just write some computer code that monitors
right.
prices, and especially on a website like TCG Player
Well,
that's
is there
got an
bots or
API.
something you can use, right, or something like that? I think there's bots that'll
Yeah,
go.
I mean that's what I'm talking about. You write some code, you automate it so that it checks the TCG Player API and can pull the best prices and put automatic orders in for you.
Yeah.
And then people get upset about getting cancellations. I mean, I think it's I can see both sides of the argument. I think from your side and the store owner side, you don't want to lose the opportunity for a big sale because your auto update was set for 8 a.m. and they got the purchase in at 7:30 a.m. But on the other side, I can see their frustration. They're looking at what they believe to be like live inventory pricing and having it canceled. Um, yes, they're not put out really anything because they didn't get to they don't lose money on the deal. They might, if they want the card, they'll pay more for
You know what this means in Italian?
it. So, all right, let's talk about a couple of our games real quick. News for Star Wars. It's Store Showdown season. I know yours is scheduled for a week and a half out from now.
But the 26th.
26th.
Mm-hmm.
Planetary qualifiers are also happening. I haven't gotten any numbers in to see how those have been going, but I did see some posts about tournaments having been completed. I think like a 13-year-old kid won one in Europe, so that was pretty exciting.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what kind of attendance they get at these things.
yeah,
How many's in the United States? Like 16 or something like
something
that?
like that. I think it was they were trying to spread them across the country, and they're
Yeah.
about 4 per region.
Yeah.
But
Be interesting to see what.
I know they were changing some of the organization in like Southern California where they had really high demand. And I haven't heard about how like the one in South Carolina is being managed or how it's gone. But
Have they run that yet?
I don't know. I don't remember the date. I'll have to double check.
Okay.
Um, Star Wars. That's Star Wars. Lorcana. They're doing set championships right now. Yours is scheduled for the 26th also.
Mm-hmm. 12 o'clock that
it'll
day.
be a full house that day.
A full house as far as the numbers that I'm allowing into the store to
Yeah.
do it. I'm limiting it. I'm not going to make it a higher number because I'm going to make it more appealing to my regular every day, every week that come into the store customers. So I don't have the prize hounds coming in and trying to snipe the big prizes all the time. I don't think it's fair to my regular customers.
Well, if we were just better at the games, nobody could come snipe us. But we stink.
You got to be able to come in and play instead of doing your soccer thing with the kids.
I got to get practice. Yeah. As far as broader Lorcana news, the DLC Lorcana Challenge event in Seattle is also scheduled to happen on the 26th. So that'll be nice. I mean, there'll be a big tournament going on that weekend. We'll get a little bit of an update on the back end of this meta before the new set releases.
Didn't you say last week that the Lorcana events have not really been that well attended, generally speaking?
The big ones have sold out.
But what about the local ones? Is it because of density again, as far as what we talked about before?
I mean,
too many stores doing too many.
I would guess so. There was some discussion on Reddit and on the Discord stuff about some of the set championships not having a lot of people. They did increase the prizing to 8 promos, so the top 8 all get a promo, and I think that may have had an impact on getting people to travel. I think people were traveling more to try to get in when they would win. They'd go to a tournament, they might place 5th and not get a promo. And so then they'll go play somewhere else and play somewhere else. And that kind of led to the later tournaments having lots and lots of people showing up. And maybe in this situation with top 8 promos, like people aren't maybe traveling as much to try to win because they're getting a promo slipping into the top 8.
Mm-hmm. Well, we discussed the other store that ran it this past weekend. They had a limit of 50 people. Only 14 showed up.
Yeah.
Plus, they didn't have, well, supposedly they didn't have the promos, and they took the names of the top 8 and they were going to mail them to them. I'm not sure what happened with with that. Maybe the distributor just didn't get it to them in time. But I mean, it's a big market they're in, a fairly big market.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't think there was a lot of competition that day from other stores doing it, and they only got 14.
Well, I didn't even know what was happening, so it didn't
Well,
pop
you're out
on.
of the loop anyway
Yeah,
half the
it didn't
time.
pop on any of the social media stuff that I pay attention to, like with the game and locally. Like I didn't see it at all. But some people like it that way. Small private events.
This is true.
um, let's see. You've got an update for us on One Piece this week.
Still do not have anything from my distributor regarding the last release. They
Hmm.
said no, they didn't get a restock in. Um, so there was a couple of boxes that I just ordered on eBay again in order to get them from that same guy that I got the last boxes of stuff from, who has sold over 700 boxes,
Yeah,
uh, and
the
it's
guy's got the
frustrating.
market cornered.
Plus the distributor sent out a sales solicitation for the next starter decks for One Piece. There's 6 different starters,
Well,
and you have to buy a display, a minimum of one display, which is I think there's 8 boxes per display. So I ordered them. Again, if they don't all sell, I'll just dump them on eBay in the future. Uh, but the problem is, I even said to my distributor, "What the hell is the sense of me ordering the damn things if I'm not going to get them?" Well, I have no control over that. Yeah, they do have control over
I
that.
mean,
I know what's happening.
yeah,
I mean, without being specific, they're taking care of the bigger stores first, and they're not giving the smaller stores the opportunity to get this product, which is going to expand the game for that particular market. They're holding back that product and giving it to ABC Gaming instead of the Toy Factory, and it's frustrating.
yeah,
But that's how some distributors operate, and it just drives me nuts.
yeah. I mean, there's no secret that distribution is money driven, and the more money you spend, the more they'll give you of what you want.
Yeah,
And the frustrating thing I think is that you're like waving money and saying I want to spend more money, and they're like, nah.
yeah, I know.
Other games to update real quick. I saw that Yu-Gi-Oh has the new OP packs are going to be coming out in a couple of weeks. Well, I
Yeah,
guess this week.
they
This
were
week.
shipped. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's available. I believe, without looking officially, I believe it's a Wednesday
Yeah, the
because
16th.
they've shipped already.
Yeah, they said they should be available the 16th. Sounds like that's a exciting new option for people to be able to get into the store and get their OP packs.
It is, but again, it's frustrating because you get you get these kits or these OP packs dependent upon your weekly attendance. And with other stores, the density of other stores, running multiple events 4 or 5 times a week, they're getting more of these packs, and we're we're not getting as much because we don't have as many people to report each week.
Mm,
It's a fact of the game, but some of my people or some of the people who have left the store are coming back. I've
good.
noticed that because there's been some issues with other locations they're not happy with. And again, it's they tried, they went someplace else, and they found that it wasn't run to their expectations or what they thought was their expectations,
Yeah.
and they're starting to come back. And Yu-Gi-Oh, again, it's frustrating. They keep running all these big events.
Yeah.
Alex, one of the guys who comes in all the time, he's a good player. He's also a judge. Went up to Niagara Falls, Canada this past weekend to judge an event. One of my other judges went down to Charlotte because they had another event in Charlotte. So that potentially that's it's not a lot, but that's 2 people out of the store because they're going to other events, plus other people who may have gone to the one in Charlotte. I don't think anybody in their right mind would go up to Canada,
Mhm.
and spend all that money to go to Canada and play in an event.
Well, it depends if you want to get up there, right? If
If you
you're
want to see
interested in checking
Niagara
out the
Falls,
falls.
you're not on your honeymoon.
Well, speaking of traveling for card gaming events, the other news we had was Magic. They've got Command Fest Beijing this week, which I think is notably interesting because it's the first major Commander event after Wizards announced they're taking over the format competitively. I did notice a change in the rhetoric this week that the announcements all say that Magic or that Wizards is taking over competitive Commander.
It's interesting.
Like not just like the format in general and the casual play.
So when they're taking it over, okay, that means they're going to make the rules.
Yeah.
And it's going to piss a lot of people off in plain English.
Well, it depends on what they do in terms of changing the rules and stuff. I mean, I think they don't have a lot of incentive to change very much. They're going to take what they have, they're going to absorb it, they're going to start doing their thing, but they may take a more hands-on approach to management over the course of time.
They're going to wring out every bit of profit that they can possibly get out of the game. So they're going to do something to it.
Well, they're probably going to demand that you start having to pay to play at your local Commander night.
I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't. Who knows?
Maybe they'll make a new OP product for organized Commander play in the store, and then you can have a new SKU for OP product packs for Commander.
Just what we need. We
Yeah.
need more stuff.
You love SKUs.
Yeah, just more stuff.
SKUs keep you going at night.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Other news is that again on the 26th, so the 26th happening weekend, MagicCon Vegas is going to be hosting the big Magic event with big Magic tournaments and all the fun things. And that's in Vegas. So if you're looking to travel for your fun and games, you got DLC Seattle, you got Beijing and Vegas for Magic all coming up in the near future. So
And you got a whole bunch of products coming out in the middle of November.
yeah,
A whole bunch.
well, and
Everything
and
in two.
we talked about
in
it
2
last
weeks.
time, but you know the new Pokemon products showcasing Pikachu on the front of their ETBs, so you're going to have a new resurgence of Pikachu lovers coming out to get Pokemon cards. Nobody needed that turtle on the last one. They're up to the Pikachus.
I'm getting too old to keep up with this stuff now.
Yeah, can you name all 1,067 Pokemon?
No.
Oh.
Do I want to? No.
No?
No.
I thought you said you were a Pokemon gamer once.
I was, but I forgot. I'm old. I forget stuff.
No. That's not what it is. You just replace it with more valuable information.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like,
Whatever you say.
hold on, I'm segueing. Like how to start a card store.
Had a card. Ooh, that was a good transition into it.
Why not segue?
You said segue. Yeah, I know. But for somebody that just tuned in that doesn't know what the hell the segue is, it's not that thing that you ride around
No,
on.
it is that thing.
Huh?
It is that thing. Those are segues.
Yeah, but it's spelled differently, isn't it? I think so.
I don't know.
I think so.
I have no idea.
I do believe it's spelled differently.
I mean, I know that fancy French segue is segue. All right, let's talk about our topic for this week. Our main topic, John picked out for this week, is funding our passion and trying to understand if you are financially ready to start a new business and specifically a card gaming business. So, John, why don't we jump into that and start off with one of the questions that you posted here. How do you know if you're ready to start a business?
Gut feeling.
Gut feeling.
No,
I mean, I just feel like
seriously, you didn't send me the information fast enough. All right, I had this idea that I was going to do. I mean, I've had it for the last couple of weeks.
Good.
Funding your passion, but I'm not 100% prepared.
Mm.
And as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, this is a big topic because it talks about money. What do you need? I mean, you just can't start a business on a whim. You have to have a business plan. That's number one. And you have to have a source of money to fund that business. And you can raise money from various locations, and we're going to get into that, I think, next week's episode. Essentially, you can borrow it from people, in your family, which is probably the worst thing that you can do. But eventually, if you borrow money, you're going to have to pay it back. You can get a small business loan, but you have to pay it back. You can borrow from a loan shark if you have to. But
we're in the South.
Uncle Louie will
There's
get
much
you.
less of
Uncle
those.
Louie will get you eventually, and you'll have to pay that back. But getting back to the main topic, you got to figure out how much of your budget should you spend on inventory, staff, and rent. That's basically what it boils down to. And new retailers' biggest financial mistake is overestimating their logical and realistic potential Also, the importance of their inventory planning and cash flow management is underestimated. Uh, yeah, you gotta understand what you're getting into, and a lot of people don't do that. They'll just jump into it on a whim. I've got a couple of examples that I'm not going to be specific about. Uh, People that are hurting, they jumped in, they borrowed money from relatives, and it's not meeting their expectations, and they're burnt out already. And because of the stress, they're still working full time jobs. They're trying to get their stores going, and it's not going the way they want it to go. Uh, they just underestimated what the revenue is going to be and how difficult it is to start a business. Uh, Again, many new retailers focus on gross sales without considering the cost of goods sold, operating expenses, and the necessary cash reserves to manage seasonal I can't even talk, fluctuations and unexpected expenses. There's always going to be unexpected expenses. I'll give you an example on a large scale.
Mm-hmm.
Down at Disney, they had Hurricane Milton come through last week, and Disney lost at their park approximately $200 million for the day and a half that it was closed. And their operating expenses to get everything cleaned up was $20 million. I mean, yeah, that's large scale. They can absorb it. Uh, I'm sure they have insurance maybe to cover some of it, maybe not. I don't know how much insurance would cost them to do something like that. But in $200 million is a drop in the hat to them because I think last year they took in over $8 billion worldwide in their business. But a small store wouldn't be able to. I mean, not at that scale, but if you had a catastrophe or you had a flood or something like that that your insurance wouldn't cover, uh, you'd be in deep trouble.
But we talked about disasters and the effect it can have on a store last week. But I mean,
Yeah.
I think like the financial preparation idea is that if you have something like that happen, do you have the ability to financially recover? Do you have reserve funds? Do you have a plan for that?
Well, see, that should be all in your business plan.
Yeah,
Uh, you've got to, as it said, uh, unexpected expenses. You always have to uh, come in with that. I mean, unexpected expenses could be this all of a sudden, all these products come out in a 2 week period.
yeah,
I mean, you have to have the money in order to get this product into your store. And again, this article that I'm referring to talk about backstock.
yeah.
Uh, if you don't have a little bit of backstock and somebody comes in and they bought the last item, and then somebody right after them come in and want to buy the same item, and you don't have any backstock, potentially you lost the sale because they're not coming back. Or they'll go online and they'll get it before you can get it back in stock. Or you could try to get it back in stock and it may not be available from your distributor. Or it may be more money.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to raise your price in order to maintain that margin. So it pays to have some back stock, but you have to, I guess, look at it with a fine line and say, how much back stock do I have? Am I going to get stuck with this back stock? And that's important. That's just a gut feeling. Uh, and after you've done it for a while, you pretty much get an idea, what you can sell and what you can't sell. Excuse me. So you got to put together a solid business plan. I mean, that's basically what it boils down to. And I didn't paraphrase the rest of this, and I'm just going to read some of this because, again, I wasn't 100% prepared today. I'm a slacker, just like you were when I was on vacation. You didn't pick up the podcast that day
That's true.
on your own, but that's all right.
I
Uh,
saved all that good content so we could get your perspective.
yeah.
Remember?
Um, Let me see. You know, and then a lot of people want to expand too, which is you have to really understand if you have a good business running and all of a sudden you say, oh God, I can put this, 10 cities away and I can put another store there. There's no guarantee that that store 10 cities away is going to equal what your existing store is. So you really have to do your homework, and you can't overextend yourself financially because you could jeopardize both of them, both stores.
Yeah.
I've known some stores, uh, not in this industry, but in the vaping industry. Uh, they opened up 3 or 4 stores real quick because one store was doing really well. However, where they went, there was 5 or 6 other stores in that area. So ultimately, they had to close down, the other 2 stores that they opened up because they just weren't profitable. They were losing money,
Yeah.
and it was a drain on their existing store.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, a risk in this industry of expansion is like, what if? I mean, think about the Atlanta area where that guy opened up the $4 million card store.
yeah,
Like, if you were running a store like this, and a guy opens up 15 minutes away on the other side of town a $4 million card store, I mean, that's going to affect you,
of course
right?
it is.
I mean, and how are you ready for that? But I mean,
You
I guess.
can't be ready. See, and the guy that opened up that $4 million store has investors. He has deep pockets.
Mhm.
Uh, he put a lot of inventory in there. He put a lot of fixtures in there.
Yeah.
Uh, it's pretty. You can go on YouTube and you can see this store. It's pretty. It's got all the bells and whistles. Uh, but in order to make that store profitable, he has to be open, and he has to sell a lot of stuff. He has. I know he sells online. He does live stripping of packs and whatever the hell he does there. But I mean, yeah, he's got to keep going. It's a machine,
Yeah.
and if you're not capable of oiling that machine or participating in that machine, what's the sense of even doing it? And as a small shop owner, you don't have the resources to do it, especially if you work in another job and you're doing this job or this store part time. You're trying to get it going. You're trying to do everything possible, uh, and you're going to be burning out.
I think one thing, going back to the original question, is how do you know that you're ready and able to start, and what do you need to start? I think an important number that you haven't addressed yet is your own compensation, right? Like, you talked about staff a little bit, whether you have staff or not, but like, if you start a business and you don't compensate yourself for working there, I think that it becomes really difficult to maintain and run the business. Even if you're, technically netting a profit, but you're not paying yourself, you've got a problem.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
that's a consideration I think you have to take into account when you're running your numbers and deciding how much money you need, is how much do you need to take home so that you feel like you've invested your time in a way that brings value.
I can almost guarantee the first couple of years you are not going to make money in order to pay yourself enough money. So you have to have another source of income. Um, right now I'm fortunate to a certain extent. I get a little bit of pension and I get my Social Security. This store is ancillary income, and it varies from week to week. Uh, I don't. I mean, yeah, I depend on this store to pay some of my bills, um, but it's not like a store that this is their sole source of income. Because if you don't get that money coming in, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I mean, it's difficult, and you need money. The old adage is, takes money to make money. So you got to put money into the business. And again, we'll get into this next week about where you can get this money. Uh, but you got to have a substantial amount of money to start a business, no matter what, for contingencies, for product, for bad situations, for rent, for overhead, because you may not meet that on a weekly basis.
Well, so for this week, we're talking about like understanding how much you need. How much, when you get that calculation, you're like, I'm going to spend, this much money on rent, this much money on staff, this much money on inventory. I'd like to be able to pay myself this. Like, how many months out do you need to plan for in terms of the money you've got? What do you think?
At least 12 to 18 months, at least.
So you think you should have 18 months worth of like your burn rate in the bank, ready to
Yeah,
go.
Yeah.
And that's not considering like sales. That's just expenses, right?
Right. Now, I mean, what's the old standby rule as far as having enough money in the bank for emergencies? Just for, what do they say, at least 6 months of
3 or 6
expenses?
months, depending on how
Yeah.
folks feel about it.
And a
Yeah.
lot of people don't have that.
No,
They'll
most
go
people
from
don't.
month to month.
Yeah.
And some of those people, those poor people in Asheville and areas that were affected by the floods, and down in Florida where some of those businesses are just destroyed, roofs torn off. I mentioned last week or the week before that store in Hawaii that
Hmm.
got burned out. Um, you know, things happen like that. You have to have a backup fund of some sort that you don't touch. You don't buy inventory with it. This is something that you have to have in the bank saying, hey, if I can't pay myself this month, I can take $2,000 out of it in order to pay my personal expenses.
Yeah.
That's what you're asking, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that's a complicated question, but I think defining what the money's for and how much it's going to need to be, you're saying your advice is 12 to 18 months of your
Yeah.
burn rate.
And it depends upon the person too. Because if you're a single person doing it on your own, you only got yourself to depend on.
Right.
However, if you have a wife that's working and she's willing to help support, your habit or your
Yeah.
or your passion, that's all well and good. But I can guarantee you from experience that is not going to go far, because that person paying all the bills is not going to be happy about it. How come the store's not making this much money now? I thought you were going to make more money. Been there, done that. And that's why you're my divorce attorney.
All right. You got any other thoughts on making this decision about how much money you need before we pass over to next week, where we'll talk about where we get money from?
Yeah, I mean, well, this is such a lengthy subject, and I'm sure we're going to get some questions about it, that I think it's going to be projected over the next couple of weeks. So let's segue to the next topic.
All right. Well, if we've quenched your thirst for your financial preparation for your business, let John now quench your thirst for knowledge with the 3 E's, which largely come from
Snapple,
which also quenches your thirst.
We're back to Snapple
Look at
facts
that.
this week. Last week we diverted. We went to the highway system, didn't we? Or that was the week
That started off as a Snapple fact, didn't it?
Oh, yeah, it may have. I don't remember. Snapple fact 1244. The word utopia means ideal place. Do you know where it comes from? Ding, ding.
Lebanon.
No. It ironically, it comes from the Greek word meaning no place. So you want to go to utopia, you go no place.
Well, it's because it doesn't exist.
In a metaphysical way?
In any way. So that's...
People think a store like this is utopia to them.
Some people do. And bless their hearts.
As long as they have money in their pocket.
Only if they spend it on the store.
All right, the next one. Snapple fact 1272.
Yeah.
We talked about competitive sports and things like that as a Snapple fact. Do you know that the U.S. has an official rock, paper, scissors league?
No.
Yeah. It's called the World Rock, Paper, Scissors Association, where you can join for free to become a professional athlete.
Oh.
It's actually all over the world.
Sign me up.
You can become
I'm really good at rock, paper, scissors.
You can become a professional athlete.
So rock, paper, scissors is a funny topic this week, because I've had a conversation about rock, paper, scissors strategy.
Mm-hmm.
The social convention, hold on, let me make sure that you can see this on the camera here. The social convention is that you use your fist like to start off with, right? And you do like rock, paper, scissors, shoot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some version of that. Well, why does everybody start with rock? I think you should just start off and do like scissors. Be like rock, paper, scissors, shoot. And then you can switch to rock or paper. And that's like a psychological strategy. Like if you're doing paper, you're like rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Ha ha!
You're tasked with going on this website and checking the blogs out to see what the strategy is.
Oh, is there a blog strategy on there?
Yeah, there's a strategy. I mean, But you can join for free. You could become a
You can join for free.
Yeah.
The professional world of rock, paper, scissors. Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh, the rules library.
They got everything.
Brief history of rock, paper, scissors. Tournaments. Let's check out the articles here.
I thought that was pretty cool.
I don't want the ads. There's an advertisement. All right. Can you cheat in rock, paper, scissors?
I guess you can somehow.
It says, can the players cheat? Among three parties, players, spectators, and match officials, the players are usually the most picked out when it comes to who can cheat, but there are other reasons to believe that other participants could be cheating. Are there illegal or unrestricted throws? Ooh.
See how much value we're putting into
Dynamite,
this
lightning,
podcast?
water, fire, the well, Texas Longhorn, Spock, and Lizard are all examples of illegal throws.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Delaying your throw to see your opponent's hand first. Some people with faster reflexes can slightly delay their hand so that they can see what their opponent's doing before they do it and then switch.
Just by the I guess,
yeah, which fingers move and stuff, right? Ooh. Conniving with a spectator. You could have a spectator tell you the tendencies of your opponent with secret hand signals. Man.
I am so...
Aren't you glad you brought this up?
I am so happy that we're giving benefit to our
All right.
podcast today.
$5 entry, rock, paper, scissors tournament, John Shop. Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m. Nobody's here at Tuesday at 9.
If Dustin plays, he'll find a way to cheat.
No, Dustin doesn't cheat, but he'll sell his hands after he's lost a couple of games.
It does the truth. All right. The last one I've got today.
Yeah.
Fact number 1337.
Tell me more.
Where is the largest desert in the world? Don't look. You can't.
I already know the answer.
What?
It's the Arctic.
All right. Why?
Why? Why do you look so disappointed when you try to get me with these? And I know the answers.
I'm impressed.
Because the definition of desert has to do with annual rainfall, not actual presence of water. And although the Arctic is covered in frozen water, it doesn't have the requisite amount of rainfall to not be classified as a desert.
You stole my notes.
I didn't steal your notes, John. I'm a nerd.
I'm impressed. So you went to college and you learned a lot.
Yeah.
I'm really impressed. All right. How big is it? Or what's the second largest? Do you know that?
The second largest? The Mojave.
Sahara.
Oh, that's the one.
Yeah.
Oh, Mojave's a real desert, isn't it? It's in America.
Yeah.
So Sahara is the one in Africa.
And the Sahara
Have you seen pictures of like the Sahara like growing out into the savannah? Like the sand is blowing out and it takes over and like kills the grass that makes the like expansion.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Sounds like the beach erosion down
like
here,
on the fringe.
On the coast.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. The Sahara has 3,600,000 square miles, whereby the Antarctic is 5.5 million square miles. That's a significant difference.
Yeah. I mean, it's huge.
I never realized that before.
I mean, and it just, you would never think of it because it's...
Well, they didn't teach that in school when I was in school. They taught us stuff that that's useful stuff.
No, they taught you old math, and old math doesn't count anymore. I've got kids in elementary school and middle school, and they come home with math problems, and I do them wrong.
Well,
I get the right answers, but that doesn't matter anymore.
You use them on you do them on the calculator or the computer.
Right?
We had the slide rules.
Hey, I was at the used bookstore the other day, and they have a collection of those old TI-80X calculators. And I think they were selling them for like $100 still.
Was that McKay?
Yeah. And I was like, wait a second. I paid $100 for one of these when I was 13. Why is it $100 now?
It's nostalgia.
27 years later, and they didn't change in price at all. But when I buy my cards from your store, they go down from... Wait 27 years, right, John?
Yep.
That's what I'll do.
Yep. It's especially a lot of your common cards.
Oh, yeah. The commons will go up in lots of value
Oh
in
yeah, they'll
27
go.
years.
They'll go from 9 cents to 10 cents.
I should probably have them graded.
But yeah, spend $35 a piece to get them
Yeah.
graded. Yeah,
It's more like
that'd
17. but
make a hell of a lot of
yeah,
sense.
lots of money.
Well, if you send them in bulk, maybe they'll drop it down to $25.
Maybe.
Maybe.
But only if I subscribe to their membership.
This is true.
Grading cards. Future.
We are degrading in our podcast today. You realize that?
Yeah, we've regressed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all John's got for today. Cut him off. No, just kidding. He seemed like he was done.
I'm done.
All right. Closing thoughts. Next week we'll talk more about money.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe we'll have some other updates from the news. Maybe the news will bring us new exciting things to talk about. Maybe Noah Lyles will run a race and win a tournament in the same week. Maybe we'll find Terry Crews playing Lorcana in the future.
Will he be flexing his muscles, his chest?
I could only hope so. All right, but thank you everybody for listening this week. We are very grateful for your support and listening. And if you do like the show, please like, subscribe, and follow us on all the different platforms. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Twitter, and I guess that's X now, and Instagram. You can also support the show on Patreon if you have the means and ability to. We would appreciate that support. If you don't want to provide dollars to support the show, though, please like and subscribe and give us comments on the various platforms, particularly on YouTube. Answer questions, ask questions, and have a good time. Let me pop up again. We're going to try our hot new technology again where we can share the screen and we can show... Uh-oh. I lost it. There it is.
God, I'm getting bags under my eyes.
Are
Jesus.
you? Good thing we just took that away. All right. Thanks to our Patreon supporters, Ben, Grant, Brandon, Logan, Drayden, Jake, and Brian. We appreciate them for being paid supporters of the show through Patreon and the opportunities it gives us to continue making the show and to pay for things like the developing program that makes this come to you with clean, smooth, happy recording.
Riverside.
Not sponsored. Stop sharing. All right. Until next time, folks, we are excited to be with you and hope that you will come back and enjoy more next time.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you listening.